What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to a special episode of Chicago Bulls Central. We had some news or some rumors, it's really speculation that came out about the Bulls possibly being interested in Rudy Gobert and Mitchell Robinson. I'll tell you why, in my opinion, the Bulls should stay away from Rudy Gobert. We'll get into all that and more on this episode of Chicago Bulls Central.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans. So I know, especially with that intro, there are a lot of Bulls fans who are initially saying, Haize, what are you talking about? We needed defense. We need offensive rebounding. We need rim protection. Rudy Gobert is perfect for that. And you would be right in the vacuum. But I'm going to tell you guys and hopefully put together a solid argument on why, not the fact that Rudy Gobert as a player would be bad for the Chicago Bulls, which in some ways he would be too, but the combination of everything, what Rudy Gobert brings offensively and defensively, as well as his contract. And while I think Mitchell Robinson would actually be the better out of these two players that's been rumored today of the option that the Chicago Bulls could go after. Now, first off, I do want to acknowledge the good. Rudy Gobert, we already know he's an amazing defensive talent. Absolutely. The way that he guards the rim, the way that he rebounds, it's astonishing. One of the things defensive advanced analytics love Rudy Gobert, and he's an amazing defensive player. When you look at something and the things that the Bulls have lacked, Rudy Gobert theoretically would bring all of that day one, instantly becoming a Chicago Bull and solve a lot of those issues that the Chicago Bulls did face this season. Now, it's easy in a vacuum to look at what a player brings or what a team was missing, and then boom, a player that could theoretically bring that in. Now, the reason why, and look, we got to start off on how we would acquire Rudy Gobert. So first off, it would have to be a trade. Rudy Gobert has an average annual salary of close to $40 million. I think it's more like $36 million per year is what it is annualized. Just looking at it, yes, base salary of average of $38.1 million per season. That's almost $40 million. Now, again, and you know, I like to bring up players that, you know, people talk about Zach LaVine and the fact that he doesn't bring defense. He's a one-way player. We shouldn't pay him $33 million, but are very vocal about the fact that the Bulls should bring in Rudy Gobert, who is the same one-dimensional player. He's just has it on defense rather than offense. Rudy Gobert is not by any stretch of the imagination a bad player. He's not a terrible player. I do think that the NBA is slowly moving away from players like Rudy Gobert. That's part of the reason why I felt the way I did about Kofi. But even then, Kofi's not nearly the mobile player anyway that Rudy Gobert is. But I feel like that happens. But the thing is, and the reason why I look at this is why Rudy Gobert is amazing defensively. Let's be clear here. Rudy Gobert is damn near a generational defensive talent. You don't run into very many players who are going to bring what Rudy Gobert brings defensively. You're just not going to. Now, as far as the scoring aspect, he is a career 12.4 point per game scorer. He's averaged close to around that 15, 16 point per games in the last handful of seasons for the Utah Jazz. And what he brings rebounding wise, double-digit rebounds. He's a double-digit rebounding rebounding master. Blocks, master. Over 2 blocks per game average every season, but his rookie season in his NBA career. These are, again, generational type stats. But then when you get into the offensive side of the game, the free throw shooting side of the game, the passing side of the game, and the key thing here is that I'm going to bring in is that Rudy Gobert and the Utah Jazz, no matter how great Utah Jazz Rudy Gobert was defensively, the Utah Jazz had to basically score 120 points in every game to offset how bad Rudy Gobert was. Go and look at it. The advanced stats are out there. For the Utah Jazz to win games, they had to score at an astronomical level regardless of what Rudy Gobert brought defensively. Now, that is huge. Is huge there. You can't overlook that. We can't be blinded by just the defensive and rebounding aspects that he brings and ignore what it would mean for the Bulls offense. Keep in mind, the Bulls offense already stagnated. We had times where we didn't move without the ball. We had times where iso ball was an issue. We had times where spacing became an issue. Listen, Rudy Gobert being on this team is going to absolutely affect the Bulls spacing. And because we have DeMar DeRozan on this team, now if we had a three that did go extend out to the three-point line, my whole argument here may break apart. But the fact is, as long as DeMar DeRozan is on this team and we have a three, a small forward who is not a three-point threat really at all, that clogs that lane even more. Now, some could say, hey, talent can overcome that. And maybe it will, right? I'm not saying at all that I have all the answers. I'm giving my opinion. But the key thing is also, a Bulls team that doesn't usually pay the luxury tax. Now, would replacing Vooch, and if we had to do a trade, you're looking at Vooch, Kobe White, the 18th pick. Maybe you need to throw in a little bit more filler because I think Vooch and Kobe don't quite get you to Rudy Gobert's contract. So you'd have to throw in some more pieces. Is that too much to give up? And here's a big part of my argument as well. It's not just getting Rudy Gobert in the vacuum. It's what also you have to give up. You have a player in Mitchell Robinson who was also mentioned in the same article by Kevin O'Connor who gives you at least 80% of what Rudy Gobert gives you. And some people can make arguments for more at a way cheaper price. That's the key thing. That's the biggest thing here, I think, in my opinion. It's not necessarily that I'm worried about the Bulls giving up Vooch. I'm definitely not worried about them or against them giving up Kobe White. But when you look at everything that they would have to give up when there's a player that you can probably sign for $10 million a year, your full mid-level exception, and get about 80% of that and add to the team rather than take away. You still have your asset in Kobe White, Vooch, if you decide to move them for other things. Rudy Gobert coming in, you would have to give up a lot of assets. And some Bulls fans may feel that that's enough. But I think if you give up so many assets for Rudy Gobert, you then are limited in what else you can do out in free agency because of the size of his contract. When you have players like Mitchell Robinson, when you have some of the players that you do in the draft that you could possibly give up even less for to move up in the draft to draft some of the players that we've talked about here, a Jalen Duren, a Mark Williams, a Tari Eason, really defensive-minded bigs that you can still develop and have a little bit more offensive potential as well. Yes, I know that we as Bulls fans keep thinking about this window being short, but the window is shorting when you do deals like this. You can extend the window when you keep certain things. So again, I'm not saying that the Bulls should necessarily keep Vooch or Kobe White if the perfect deal arises. I just don't think that Rudy Gobert, with everything that we know, looking at the advanced stats, looking at everything, is that perfect deal. While he does bring a lot of what the Chicago Bulls need, a lot of it, I don't think that that's the perfect deal to get the Bulls over the hump. And I think, again, my opinion holds no more weight than anybody else's. But I don't think it's going to have the net gain when you look at the offensive losses, especially passing. This Bulls team was at the best when we were passing very well. Now, one could say Lonzo could maybe unlock some with Rudy Gobert. I'm trying to give all sides of the argument here. But I just think that limitation of ball movement, especially and spacing, the combination of those limits it too much, in my opinion. And then when you look at the fact of, hey, if you can't get over the hump playing with a player like Donovan Mitchell, who really, him and Levine are close offensively, what then is your cap? Yes, we have Lonzo Ball, who's better. Yes, we have Ayo Dosunmu. Yes, we have DeMar DeRozan. Yes, we have Patrick Williams. And we haven't even unlocked what Patrick Williams brings as a facilitator either. All those questions, yes, they could go in the right direction where Rudy Gobert could be the answer for everything that we need. But in my opinion, when you can go after other players that are going to cost less and that you can add to rather than take away and save those assets to maybe go after something else, my money, personally, I would rather see the Bulls go after Mitchell Robinson. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Who would you like to see the Bulls pursue? Who do you think is the better prospect? Again, not just necessarily the better player, but can have the better net gain between Mitchell Robinson and Rudy Gobert on the Chicago Bulls team. Let me know. Free agency is right around the corner. We are a little bit away from that July 1st date, and we'll find some things out very shortly. We may even start seeing that picture become a little bit more clear around the draft time, but I want to hear from you guys down below. What do you think? Sound off. Let me know what you think. Thank you for listening and watching Chicago Bulls Central. Make sure you're following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text and or voicemail about this or anything else, you can do so at 773-270-2799. Thank you for tuning in. I'm out. Like I like to end every episode on. Go Bulls. Love you guys. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.